Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. This is how I left my relationship with my abusive ex-husband without letting him know. So my brother, my oldest brother, who's gone on now, may he rest in peace. He was my rock. He was the foundation of our family, and I love him to this day because he protected me. When he found out what was happening in my situation with my husband, my ex-husband, he told me, he said, sis, you need to get out of there. You need to go. You need to get away from him as soon as possible. And I said, bro, I really don't know how to do that. I had tried to leave before. I tried to leave one time before, but these slick, charming, toxic guys would draw you right back in. So I went right back in, and before I knew it, I was a few weeks later, it was back to square one where he had punched my hand. He pushed me so hard that my hand went through the plaster of the apartment wall. And I was, like, he hit me, it was so hard that my hand was like swollen the next day. I had so much pain, and like it hurt. Like, yeah, it was hurt. It was hurting. I was hurting. This whole hand, arm was hurting. Everything was hurting. And I went. I told my called and told my brother, and my brother said, "Well, sis, it's time to go. It's time to get up out of there." And the next thing I know, I was actually planning with my brother. He said, I said, well, we could do it on such and such a day. I know he'll be at work. He'll be driving the cab. He'll be working. So I can call and make sure he's at work. And I'll be like, what time you be home? So I make sure the food is ready, blah, blah, blah. And he told me. And then I called my brother and let him know. I said, this is what time he'll be back. Can you come and get me? I said, this time I'm not going back. And my brother said, are you sure? I said, yes, I'm sure. Like, I had been back and forth a couple of times actually, but this time I'm like, I'm not going back to him because of what happened this time. He said, okay, sis, because I don't want to, have to bury you early. And yeah, it got real. It got real for a minute. And my brother's like, okay, I'm coming to get you at like 7 p.m., let's say 6 p.m., just in case. And then I called right before. I told my brother, let me call one more time before you come. My brother was the only person who knew. I didn't tell my mother. I didn't tell nobody else in my family. I just told my oldest brother. And once he came and got me, I had everything ready. I just went with my clothes and my son's clothes. I didn't have a lot of clothes, thank God. I would have left half of that mess anyway. I took uniforms because I was working as a nurse then and still going through this. So I took my uniforms. I took a small amount of clothes. I had everything packed up. As soon as he left, I started packing stuff. As soon as my husband had left for work, I started packing things. And then, so I had planned this out a week. I didn't transfer mail or anything. I had left all that mess. I didn't care about none of that. I left the furniture, and I had cleaned up like the day before. So all I had to do that day was straighten up. I left the dishes out. I washed all the dishes up. I had cooked. Food was on the stove. Bathroom was clean, bedroom was clean. We had a 1-bedroom apartment, and my son's bed was clean. Everything was clean. I took everything my son owned as much as I could because he didn't have a lot of clothes either. And then I packed all that stuff up in bags. So when my brother got there, all I had to do was hand him bags, and we got up out of there. I think I left some clothes behind. I didn't even care. And I packed up and I left, and I had went on and got over to my mom's house. I think I took like maybe a couple of weeks to find an apartment. I don't even think I had an apartment yet. I just said I just had to go. I didn't even have an apartment or anything yet. I think I got an apartment like a few days later, maybe a week later or so. But my mom let me come back to stay with her, and thankfully I was able to just go to work from there. And he didn't. I don't even know. I think I had quit that job or something. I think I had quit that job and everything and moved my whole life to the other side of town. Like, I knew I had to quit that job because I think I told him that I had to leave because my husband probably would come up there and bother me. So I dropped everything and moved. So I had to basically go to the other side of town and start over. But I had the support of my family. My family, they helped me out. And then my brother told my husband that he got on the phone and told him when he called He said, look, if you come near my sister, I will personally, yeah, my brother told him that. So he never did come over there trying to, and then, my schedule, I think I was parking my car around the corner or something. Like he never knew where I was after, like, where my mom lived, but he didn't dare come over there with that foolishness because my brothers were not playing that. So, or I think I had got an apartment or something. I don't know. I can't remember all these. I think I want to say I got my apartment already so that I won't put my family at risk. I believe I had got my apartment already. And I just told him, please don't tell him where I live at. My brother like, wow, we're not going to do that. So he was bothering, trying to call my family. My brother told him, do not come near us because we will handle you, okay? So I was grateful for my brother, my oldest brother and my youngest brother saying, we got you. We got you, sis. So, yeah, I remember I had to have gotten my apartment because he would have drove up to my mom's house trying to talk to me. So I had to quit that job, which was right down the street from where I live. I left all that furniture. We had just got a new stereo system. Back in the day, the nice stereo system from Sears that would cost like $400 or $500 or something, $700. Kenmore, I don't know. But anyway, everything was nice. I left the house clean. Like, I just wanted to get the heck up out of there. And I got the heck up out of there. I didn't announce it to nobody else. I didn't tell none of my coworkers what I was doing. I had one coworker, Donna Mills, wherever she is. She was my angel. She offered to let me sublease her apartment. Or she said, you can stay here for maybe a couple of weeks till you get a place. And I turned it down because I felt like, and it was right before this happened, she offered me her place because she was moving out of town. She said, I got 2 weeks on my lease. You're welcome to have it. And I was like, no, I don't think I can do it. But she said, okay. She said, just don't come back with another pumpkin eye. Because she said, if you do, I'm calling the police myself. So I had people on my side. I had people looking out for me. And I really, really appreciate people like her. And it's emotional. It's still emotional, because I didn't deserve any of that. But I stayed and stayed and stayed, hoping it would get better. And he kept promising me it would get better, and it kept getting worse and worse and worse. And that last time when we were fighting, well, one time we were fighting over my son, and he didn't care that we were fighting over our son, like whatever. And then he pushed my hand through that wall where I broke the plaster of the wall. That was a hard push. Push, push, push. And then it did something to my soul when we fought over our son. And my son said he remembers that today. He remembers us fighting over him, like battling each other. He remembers that. And I could have stayed and put up with it for myself. But when he fought over our child, we had a physical fight over while our child was beneath us. And my son was trying to bite his leg. Yeah, that did something to me. I had to get up out of there. And I thank God for my brother today that we got up out of there, and I'm safe. I was safe and sound. Went on to other more toxic relationships after that, but I'm glad that I was able to get the heck up out of there. And I have to share my testimony. I have to share these stories because it's going on more now than ever. And there's so many people that are leaving this earth because nobody's telling their story. Everybody wants to feel around like they have the perfect life. Now, they have nothing to be ashamed of. We all have something to be ashamed of. We all have something that led us to where we are today. Shame and guilt because you stayed so long, because you tolerated nonsense, because you put up with nonsense, because you didn't have to. And I'm just thankful today to be here because domestic violence is a killer. It kills. It will kill you, either mentally, physically, or emotionally. It tears you down. And that's the goal of these guys and the women out here doing it, to break you down to your lowest common denominator, to tear you into shreds, to make you feel like you're worthless. Your life is pointless. You're just here taking up space because that's the way they feel about themselves. And what I've learned about those people is they are so toxic and full of venom. There's nothing you can do to change them. You just have to get out of the relationship and move forward and make an effort not to go back to those same type of people in different relationships, because it's so easy to do. It's so easy to get up in there and go back to the same type of person you were with unknowingly, unwillingly, because you haven't changed your mindset, because you're still letting people tolerate you instead of celebrating you. You're letting people say it's okay to mistreat me. No, it's not okay. It's not okay to be mistreating me. It's not okay for you to tell me that I'm nothing without you. You're a liar. You are a liar, because I am something with or without you. I was something with or without you before I met you, and I'll be that way after you long gone. So don't let them get in your head. Don't let them make you think you're nothing without them. You are something with or without them, and you're greater without them. You've got to understand your own power, your own true wealth, your own true worth. And people don't like people using that word. I'm going to use it. Know your worth, know your value, so that you don't get into these toxic relationships where you sit up and listen to these fools tell you what you are. They're not the authority on who you're going to be or your destiny. And they feel that they talk that way down to you so that they can pull you down to their level. If somebody has to pull me down to their level, I don't want to be on that level. I don't want to be anywhere near them, because they're not worth my time, my patience, my ability to love. They're not worth they're not worth being in my circle. They're out of my circle, because they're not worth it. People in my circle are worth it. We enjoy each other's time and company. And if you have to bring me down a notch or two, I don't need you. Keep it moving. But I'm just saying all this to say, please, when you move in silence. Get out quickly. Make your exit plan. Be safe out there, and call the police if you have to. Please don't. There was a situation, I'll talk about that later, where somebody got a moving truck, and the neighbors called the police and asked the man, did you know your wife is moving? I'll talk about that in another video. But thank you guys for watching. Please be safe. Call the authorities if you need to. Move in silence. Have code words. Have people around you who are on your team who will not divulge all your information, will not be putting it out there on social media. Do not be posting all that stuff about your love life, because when the stuff goes AWOL, too bad, or toxic, then people want to criticize everything. Everybody has the potential to be in a toxic relationship at some point or another. It could turn toxic, but it really depends on how those two people deal with each other, how either they celebrate each other or they tolerate each other. At any time, a relationship can turn toxic. That's how fragile relationships are nowadays. So please protect yourself out there. If you are move in silence, please, and protect those that are around you. Love you guys. Peace and blessings. See you in the next video.